Welcome to the Streets.mn podcast, the show where we highlight how transportation and land use can make our communities better places. Coming to you from beautiful Seward, Minneapolis, Minnesota, I am your host, Ian R. Buck. As a teacher, it really pains me to say this, but it's August and it's about time to start thinking about back to school season. Ooh, no, I went there. So today we have an episode from the Hiawatha Neighbor podcast, which is just a couple neighborhoods south of me. On each episode, they feature something cool that someone in the Hiawatha neighborhood is doing, and this one is about a bike train at a local elementary school. I'll let them take it from here.
Here we go.
Okay, well, it is Thursday, June 6th. We're nearing the end of the school year. And we are outside at the site of the bike train gathering place.
It is precisely 8:40 a.m., 25 minutes before the bike train leaves at its scheduled time, 9:05, and we've invited all the kids to come early to talk to us a little bit about the bike train. But we're not really sure who's going to show up, so I guess we'll see.
I hope some kids show up. This bike train is a regular part of the neighborhood every morning, and for our kids too. And we hope. Oh, here comes some bikers. Good morning, bikers.
They're all arriving at the same time.
All right.
Good morning. Everybody, ring your bike bells. Let's hear them. Let's hear them. Whoa.
So, are you part of the bike train?
Yes.
How many days do you think a year you go on the bike train?
Most of them. At the start of the year, I started busing, and then like halfway through the school year, I got into this bike train.
So biking is definitely the much better option. So the bike train is really awesome because you get to bike with people.
Bike with your friends.
Yeah, bike with your friends and not annoying third graders.
Wow, this is the biggest bike train group I have ever seen here.
This is only my second time on the bike train.
Hello and welcome to Hiawatha Neighbor. We've got a really exciting episode this week.
We are interviewing the Bike Witch and the Bike Fairy.
Also known as Jenny Graff and Dave Cowan.
Jenny and Dave have been instrumental in the formation of a really highly successful bike train. And
explain what a bike train is to everybody.
Oh, that's actually, I probably should have asked Dave that while he was here, because he said there's some terminology difference between a bike train and a bike bus, and I'm still not totally clear on that.
No, I don't know, but we have a bike train, which is the kids in the neighborhood and a couple blocks around us all get together in one specific place at 9:05, and then together they bike with at least one adult, often more adults are accompanying them, and they get to school safely together and in a very fun way.
Every day, rain or shine, no matter what.
It's great. Yeah, I don't know what a bike bus is.
I
People
don't
can
either.
Google that. But we have a bike train, or they could email Dave Cowan, because Dave Cowan does this work for a living now. He works for a nonprofit called Partnership for Safe Routes to School or
Biking
something.
partnership thing.
Something like that. Again, we're not into details here in this podcast, but Dave works with this. But we got to know Dave, not through his work professionally, but we first got to know Dave when our kids were taking the bus to school. Nothing wrong with taking the bus. We actually really enjoyed the bus stop. That's how we got to know, first of all, a lot of the other parents in the neighborhood.
We would all meet at the bus stop. Often both parents from a family would come, and there were often just as many parents drinking coffee and eating donuts on the bus stop corner.
Every morning, even after our kids didn't really need us there anymore. The bus stop was just a block away from our house. We could see it out the window, but we still like to go accompany the kids, and then even after the bus would leave with our kids, sometimes we would just hang out and talk there as parents. So it was a great way to get to know neighbors here.
But then there was one neighbor that we never had a chance to meet when our kids were small, and that was the Cowan family. And that was because those kids never took the bus. They biked every day, rain or shine. And Dave escorted them to and from school. And then the news spread that this is actually a far superior way to get to and from school. And more kids kept joining. And our main experience with the bike train, we've had a little here and there before, but this last year or two since we've come back from New Zealand, the bike train of this neighborhood has become like a force to be reckoned with. The level of organization and participation is just skyrocketing.
Our 5th grader takes part in it every day. Maybe she would bike on her own, but I think she's biked more consistently, more regularly, even in cold and rainy weather, because there are friends to see and to bike with on the bike train.
We actually went out to the bike train one Thursday morning at the beginning of June to see what the kids had to say about their bike train experience. And it was really fun to hear them talk about it.
So thanks for joining us for this episode with Dave and Jenny and some really great kids in the neighborhood. All right, I have a question for you guys.
Yeah.
What was the worst day of bike train this year?
All right, can I go?
Yeah.
Well, I think the worst day was
Definitely when there was it was just raining so hard one day. Oh yeah, that was crazy.
So there was this really icy day, and then everyone fell. There was 2 people who didn't fall, and I fell 3 times.
What was the best day of bike train?
The best day.
definitely when we got donuts.
Oh yeah.
First day of
Donuts?
school.
Yeah, we got donuts.
The first
Yeah,
day
the
of school.
donut.
First day of school was
Oh
the
yeah,
best day?
Christmas. Yo, Christmas. We got so much stuff.
brings treats
Yeah,
on the bike train.
Lots and lots of treats.
That's
That's
great.
my motivation for them, I think.
The worst day for me was any day that I took the bus.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, but that
Bike
was
train's
fun.
definitely better than bus.
Yes.
Yeah.
What about you?
What was your best bike train day?
Probably any day that it's really sunny and nice out. Yeah, whenever it's really nice out.
Welcome to the podcast, Jenny.
Thank you. Thank you.
Tell us how you got started with the bike train.
Yeah, so we moved here about 6 years ago, and Olivia, my oldest, was in kindergarten or just starting kindergarten. And so we were doing a lot of walking to and from, but my youngest was also an infant. And so there was still a lot of driving involved, but I was like, this feels almost icky, driving this short distance to the school. And so we made it a point to be walking a lot. And then when my middle started, well, I guess first grade, COVID kind of wiped, I forget about COVID. COVID kind of wiped everything out for a while. But once my oldest was at the house school, my middle was at Hiawatha, I was like, I got to have a way to get these kids to and from school. I can't walk it because there's only 10 minutes and I'm just not quite fast enough to get from one school to the next in 10 minutes. It's a half mile. And so I was like booking it and I'm like, okay, this isn't working. And then I got some sort of message, communication, email, I'm not sure, from that Dave was doing the bike train. And so I was like, this would be really fantastic if we could join. And I wasn't really a part of it that year. I would ride when I could. So yeah, that's how I got associated with it. And then the second year Olivia was on it, I would help after school when I could. And I had my little guy on the baby seat behind me, and
now he's on the bike train.
And now he's a kindergartner on the bike train, and he's usually up front and racing with the big boys, and falling down and causing commotions and trying to kick at people's bikes. And so he's kind of a troublemaker, but we're rolling with it.
It's really I've been really impressed and surprised by how much feedback I've heard from many kids about things they've learned on the bike train.
I love that.
Yeah,
good.
It's really
okay.
impressive. And I mean, I know that you deal with a lot of Learning curves.
Yeah,
different
there's
learning
curves. There's not a ton of organization. At the beginning of this year, I was just like, hey, I want to keep this going because I'm going to be doing it anyway. And so I'm going to be biking my kids to school anyway. Why don't I just have as many possible children as I can? Parents are more than welcome to join at any time, but I'm also doing it no matter what. So we might as well get it, the whole neighborhood together. It takes a village.
So awesome.
I've got a question for everybody.
What's up?
What are the rules of bike train?
Just don't be mean and don't push anybody over.
Don't really race. That's like a rule. And don't go too far ahead of one of the grown-ups. If there's like a big bike train, we have to ride 2x2 when cars are going past us. But if it's buses, we have to ride 1 by 1.
Single file.
And 1 by 1 is really easy.
What do you say if there's a car coming?
Car up or car back?
Oh.
If the car is behind us, we say car back. But if it's in front of us, we say car up.
I'm happy it's a thing.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. It's an amazing thing. I don't know. One of the parents yesterday was saying, it feels like being in a utopian kind of situation because how does this work out so amazingly?
I know.
Just in the neighborhood. But
it's just
fabulous.
It really is. And it's really for me to start my day like that. I never walk away from bike train with a bad attitude
I wish I hadn't done that.
I wish I hadn't done that. Every time I'm like, God, these kids are just so awesome. And there's always something, that I walk away with oh, that was so cute. Or I have one that she's always like, let me see your jewelry you're wearing today, or how are your nails painted? Or, she's like my little fangirl. And I love the little special relationships, or they see me in school and they're like, hi, Jenny. And yeah, everybody knows me now, and good and bad. I can't go to the supermarket looking my worst anymore because everybody knows me. But other than that, everything's positive.
Right.
You're famous in the neighborhood.
I am.
Now,
I
why do you
never
think
thought
you're at
moving
the
to
top of the-
I never thought moving to Minneapolis, people, you'd go places and you'd know everybody. That seems like a small town thing, but that's what I love about the Hiawatha neighborhood.
A big small town.
Yeah,
Yep.
it really is.
The bike train is one of the greatest things about this neighborhood. It's so awesome. My experience of the bike train was, here's my first memory actually of the bike train, was our kids when we first moved to the neighborhood. Well, they were babies when we first moved, but when our kids started school, we went to the bus stop, as one does. Mm-hmm. And then we carried on with that plan. And then maybe a few years later, this random family with 2 kids and a dad on a bike, showed up, and some other kids at the bus stop seemed to know them. And I was like, what's this all about? And then fast forward years later, Dave Cowan.
Yeah.
So you'd been doing that forever and ever?
Forever and ever. Yeah. But I decided to start going past the bus stop actually on purpose.
To try to recruit us?
Yeah.
Oh.
We'd have some music playing sometimes.
I
We'd
love
wave at
that.
you all.
Yeah.
We were trying.
It only took till
You're poaching the kids.
I was trying. It took a while.
We're like, kids, look the other way. Here comes the bike train.
Kids, look, we have donuts. Don't look at Dave.
Donuts, music. Next week there'll be a bubble machine.
Oh my goodness.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
You
wow.
are up in your game.
Spoiler
She has
alert.
leveled up,
Okay.
for
I know.
sure.
I'm trying
All
to
right,
get.
this won't
I'm
come
trying to
out
get
until
on.
afterwards. Then.
Thank
Okay,
you.
don't wanna
Thank you.
spoil the
Yeah.
surprise.
I just said it's going to be lots of fun.
Yeah.
Fabulous.
So,
cool.
Dave, what is the origin of this bike train in this neighborhood? Have you been doing things like this before you even had kids, or when did it start?
Yeah,
for you?
I mean, geez, there were a couple questions in there.
Yeah.
I'll
Pick
start with the origin of the bike train, which was there were a couple of neighbors on your block actually here on 45th that when we first moved here, we would meet and walk with. So it was it was kindergarten, it was a block, and so we would meet and walk. And so that's called a walking school bus, by the way. There's kind of terminology here that I'll cue you all in on.
Mm-hmm. This isn't something you invented, in other words.
No. In fact, this is one of many strategies that schools and districts use to try and get kids walking and biking more. And when done well, they work. So we would walk to school together, and eventually we started getting on two wheels, probably later in kindergarten, the first spring. And the principal actually contacted me of Hiawatha at the time.
Pang.
No, before Pang.
Oh, before Pang.
It was a long time ago, maybe 2017, maybe in 2016. She had a student that was showing up on campus well before school started, and she was worried about that child being unsupervised. And I withheld my opinion about her opinion about the unsupervised child.
That's a different podcast.
That's a different podcast on free range parenting. But she asked if this kid could come with us. And so kind of a side story of this is I worked for an organization at the time that collected beat up bicycles and repaired them and then gave them out to families in need. That year we had made the Guinness Book World Record for the most bikes donated in a single day, 5,512 bikes.
Oh my
Wow,
gosh.
that is
day.
so
Yeah.
great.
So that had happened.
That's in our neighborhood.
Well, that's in Minneapolis.
Minneapolis.
That was Minneapolis.
We're in Minneapolis.
Yeah.
Our neighborhood.
We are. And so we had that fall and winter given all those bikes out. And then that spring was when this happened. And so I went to pick this girl up on the first day. She lived kind of in between our house and the school. And she was sitting on her bike waiting out in front on the sidewalk. We were biking like a block and a half. And she was so excited. And she did not know how to ride a bike.
Oh, no.
So she immediately starts like kind of lurching towards us on her bicycle. And I'm like, oh, I did not get the memo on this, right? So anyway, she's super excited. She's chatting it up. My two kids are looking at me like, this kid's very excited to be getting to school today. And when we get to school, I'm helping her lock up her bike, and I look down, and there was a little sticker that we put on every single one of those 5,512 bikes, and it was on her bike.
Oh my gosh,
so
cried out.
it was a sweet moment, but probably the first version of a bike train.
Wow.
Spring of Jamie's kindergarten year. So, and that child, who shall remain unnamed, rode with us all through the spring.
What a
Awesome.
fantastic
That
story.
is so
Oh my
great.
gosh.
Yeah, it was a pretty cool
Yeah.
and touching moment. So
I can
Yeah.
see why you'd be motivated to keep with it after
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
For sure.
I mean, I think one of the beautiful parts about a bike train is that parents are busy, or parents, some children don't have caretakers in the house that can ride with them, and some families do. And it provides that supervision and maybe a little bit of coaching on how to ride a bicycle safely that all parents can't give every morning of every day of every week.
Oh, car. Car up. Car back.
All right, one danger of biking.
One danger. What's one danger of biking? So what do you do in order to stay safe when you're biking?
Just say, we do single file lines.
Yep. How did you learn all that stuff?
Jenny just yells single
That's great. Yeah, everybody listens to Jenny every time she gives any instruction all the time.
Not always. I do. I'm good on bike train.
And I think you listen to Jenny every time she tells you any single thing ever, right? 100% of the time.
Especially not to race, right? Nobody races.
Yeah, do you all stay together really well when you bike?
Most of the time. I would say
really well.
no. Not really. I wouldn't know. I'm going to Sanford, right?
All right. It's 9:05. Time to go.
And that actually gets me outside too, because I am not a winter person. And now suddenly I'm on my bike every single day. And I'll even send out a text like, is anybody riding? Who are my riders? And Melina
Invariably,
almost always.
Melina will be
Yep,
there.
Melina. So I'm like, all right, if one rides, we all ride.
But Jenny, you're committing to biking all through the winter next year.
Well,
Is that what I heard you say?
I have.
I heard that.
As much as I can. I did ruin my bike a little bit on one of those days. The ice had melted. I could not see any. The roads were clear. There was one little patch of ice at the end of the alley, and I was down on the ground before I could even realize. Tore off the derailleur.
Oh, jeez.
Learned how to fix a derailleur on my own after that, though. So this is actually getting me to know the mechanics. I didn't even own a bike like 3 years ago. I didn't have a bike. I biked in college, and then I did not own a bike until the bike train came about.
And yesterday,
Yeah.
I saw you repairing a kid's bike before taking
Yep,
off
that happened.
in the morning.
You just
so
flipped it upside down like a boss.
Yeah.
Got out your little kit, and I was like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
It's like,
cool.
So I thought
Definitely.
you were this lifelong biker,
No.
passionate about biking.
No.
And nope, this
I
came
did
from the bike
last
train.
year.
and
I
from the
didn't
kids.
know how to fix a flat.
wow.
So I've just been, doing my best, trying to learn as fast as I can, teach the kids as much as I can.
What a good example you are.
No kidding, right?
Yeah.
May
Doing
all
my
our
best.
children be paying attention. Well, it is the safety thing is such an interesting topic because I love biking. I bike to work. I love biking to work. I love my kids biking to school. And I get a lot of questions from people about, is that really safe for them to do that?
Yes. So many people asking all the time.
And I mean, it's a bajillion times safer than driving a car, isn't it? Like that's pretty clear science.
Yes. Yeah, we haven't had. Of course, it's always my child. It's always my youngest, a boy, and I'm learning boys. They are a little fearless, and I always parent it. I'm like, oh, if you parent them the same, there's not a big difference between boys and girls. Oh my gosh, maybe it's just my my little guy, but he has no fear about anything. So he's the one who has had he went as fast as he could through an intersection that had a stop sign, and we all yelled at him very loudly, and he was able to stop, and that car was able to stop, but she was mad, and we were, like, you can't do that, and like, but also that road leads straight to, the river road, and it's a very, I don't know what cross section that is, but people drive really fast, and there needs to be more stop signs, and people need to drive slower on the residential roads, and we'd all be happier and safer.
I mean, if you're going to be able to ride your bike somewhere in this city, it should be on our streets. Like, we have some of the nicest places to ride in the whole city, in our neighborhood. So, and it is much less safe to get in a car, statistically.
Seems like the bike train's going real fast.
I know, we used to be like a slow rolling bike train ride coast most of the time.
Yeah.
Now I'm like probably almost the whole time.
It's a workout now.
It is a little bit. Jackie boy, what happened? Were you riding in the gutter? You're all right. It's okay. Pick it up.
How often do people fall down on their bikes, do you think? Once a week? Nobody died. That's important. Nobody died.
Well, Dave, what is your relationship to biking?
Yeah.
Apart from bike train, can you tell us a little bit about that?
Well, I used my bike to get around in college too. And then when I got out of college, I don't know. I feel like everybody has a departure from bicycling when they get a car. It's like when they get the scratch together to get whatever they want, So that happened with me for a bit. And Sarah and I actually left the country for a year in a place where we didn't have a car, got around walking and biking, and we didn't have any money, and taking buses and hitchhiking. Also, I'm not sure how dangerous that is, but we're still alive.
Do your kids ever hitchhike to school?
With the bike, when the bike thing does that. Or a bus, I don't know. So where was I going with that? Oh, when we came back, we were dirt poor and had been doing it for a year in another country. So I bought a $50 bike off of Craigslist and started riding it. And at the time, I worked in schools with kids that had been either emotionally or physically abused. It was kind of like a special school for kids that couldn't make it in normal public school. And that's where I met Sarah, by the way. But I biked to that place because I didn't have a car. And while I was there, I was getting ready actually to go back and to school to be a therapist, because that's what you did in that place. If you were either like working with the youth hands-on, or you went back and got your master's. And I applied and was accepted to the school in Fort Collins. I was out and just before I left for this have you ever heard of RAGBRAI?
Oh, yeah.
People in Minnesota know RAGBRAI?
Oh, yeah, RAGBRAI.
I do not.
Okay, well, let me tell you about RAGBRAI, and perhaps
little
listeners.
digression, real quick. And then
everything that comes out of my mouth is a digression.
I warned them I'm the same way.
You are all in very good company,
Okay.
so don't worry.
All right. Well, RAGBRAI is a ride across Iowa. It's 7 days long. It is somewhere between 15,000 and 25,000 people on bikes.
Wow.
And it is so important that the local economies, so they choose a new route every year, and the local economies of the cities along the route like blow up because RAGBRAI comes through their town and just like buys their Kool-Aid and spaghetti and beer. And so a lot of the folks that live in those towns, that's like their biggest day of the year. Anyway, I was riding RAGBRAI, and I had applied to this job randomly 2 weeks before I was supposed to start this school. And it was at this organization called Bicycle Colorado. I lived in Denver at the time. And they did safety education and encouragement with kids around biking and walking to school. So I was on RAGBRAI. I got a call with a job offer to go do this 2 weeks before I was supposed to go back to school to get my MSW. And I decided that I could just not go back for a year and see what this job was like. And so I started working, this was in 2007, in schools all over Colorado, teaching kids how to walk bikes safely. And then somehow I made a career out of that, because it's almost 20 years later and I'm still doing the same shit. Like,
wow.
Not that I'm not doing the same shit. I am still focused on the same outcome in different ways. So I do that.
That's great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you had a job change recently too.
Yeah. I used to. There's a state program that provides money for schools and for communities that want to build bike lanes and trails and crossings and have helmets for their students or bikes, or teach them how to walk and bike safely, or have events. And we would grant money through the state program that I oversaw here in Minnesota to schools all over the state to do those kind of things. So I worked there for 8 years after working at Free Bikes for Kids, which I told you all about earlier. And then just recently took a job. How do I best phrase this? I now lead a national nonprofit that focuses on safe routes to school, which is what we're talking about in a way, like a bike train is a part of. Yeah.
That's great.
So I oversee our consulting practice and I oversee the organization. Mm-hmm. Kind of a co-leadership model with a second person.
How does this new job impact your ability to bike a
Let
lot?
me tell you. First of all, Jenny has been kind enough to keep the meetup point in front of my house every morning on the bike train, which has been...
I was talking about that. I feel kind of bad. We're still meeting in front of your house.
It's delightful. It's delightful. I no longer commute to an office. I haven't for 5 years. But I am sitting up in my bedroom and my window's usually open.
Okay.
And I start to hear the bells and the voices of the kids all excited about their morning. And sometimes I even step away from my computer long enough for my meeting. I'll even say, like, hold on a second. I'll just go peek out the window and see the whole
This is
gang.
the work we're doing right now.
Dang it.
So,
we cannot change the location. I was saying, like, maybe next year when the fifth graders are gone, we'll move it to the end of the block. Okay, just kidding. We'll just give out Dave's address now as the meeting point.
I love it. Let's do that. Oh, gosh. I was going to, like, I think I took a photo of you guys out in front of my house yesterday. Is that creepy?
No, not at all. I
In a lot
actually
of
would love to
context,
see it.
yes.
There you
but-
all are gathering out in front of my house. And I was like, I
We'll
gotta
make
snap
sure
a
to put
picture
that
of
on
I
the,
love that.
on the Facebook page
Oh,
too.
gosh.
Here's the photo I took of you in your bedroom.
Is that creepy?
Sorry.
Well, now I'm going to be looking up everyone. I'm like,
I
is
know,
that
right?
creepy
Make sure
guy
you
up
have your
there?
bathrobe on.
Your helmet's on wrong.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing.
But that is back to the neighborhood part. Like that's what I love about Bike Train, and I like about a walkable, bikeable neighborhood. Like we see each other. I don't just see Jenny at Bike Train. I see her coming and going from the playground with her kids. I also see her on Bike Train. I see her out for her walks when she's apparently listening to audiobooks.
Audiobooks and not podcasts.
Yeah,
Sorry.
not podcasts, except for this one. And that is, so that's the snapshot with Jenny, but that's like my day traveling through our neighborhood is
It's hard to
just-
get anywhere, isn't it? Because you just meet
No,
people.
you
And
just
then
have
stop
to,
and
you
talk.
have to start waving.
Yeah.
Just like,
This way.
yeah.
Look down quick at your phone, pretend you're reading something. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it is delightful. But Jay, you came in the house the other day and you were like, last 5 seconds, you're like, oh, Hans was there on the way. And then I came back and Art and Jeremy were outside. Then
Yeah.
But that's really fun. And that
It is really
is
fun.
how you become part of the neighborhood. You have to be visible. It's like, I mean, you became, what are you, co-vice president of the PTO? You must have
Co-vice
been
president. I
at a
don't know
meeting, though, right? At a PTO
So I
meeting.
was
So
attending.
there's something like,
I got cornered at gymnastics by one of the PTO members who also had a kid in gymnastics. I was like,
okay, so it
"We'll
wasn't at a PTO
see.
meeting.
We'll see.
But just by your presence in the neighborhood, people know
Yeah.
you and trust you, and
Yeah.
that's how we build
When they see
community.
you. Yeah.
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 Right.
I have this like weird thing where I can't actually see people in cars. And I feel really bad about it because a lot of times people in the neighborhood that I know very well will come driving at me and I won't know it's them 80% of the time, and 20% of the time I'll know it's them after they're gone. So I haven't like waved, and I'll just like catch a glimpse right at the last second and be like, oh crap, that was Jay. And I just completely ignored him because I don't recognize Jay in his car. I recognize Jay when he's walking around or on a space horse coming across the neighborhood. Like I see bikes. I can tell you the brand, can tell you the model, any changes you've made to it from the stock,
I love it.
but not your car.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, there's even people like when I get the kids to school, they're like, "I saw you on bike train when I was in my car and I waved," and I'm like, I'm not looking in car windows, and that's the nice thing about being out of a car.
Mm-hmm.
You're not social. You get in this like antisocial mindset if you are in a car and everybody's for their own, and you get that cranky attitude. And you're on a bike or you're walking, you see your neighbor, hey, how's it going? You hear about their day, their lives, and oh, hey, did you know Cassandra did this, and yeah. So I really, when I first moved here and didn't know anybody, I was like, there's no way I'm ever going to in Minneapolis get a group of friends, or it's going to be so hard to meet my neighborhood. And oh my gosh, it's the opposite. It's almost harder in a small town to get to. I come from a very small town, and where everybody knows everybody and their grandparents and their aunts and uncles and their family story. But if you move in as an outsider, there's no way you're going to get to know everybody. But here, I mean, wow, it's crazy. It really is crazy.
Big little small
awesome.
town.
It is.
Longfellow is certainly that way.
Yeah.
When we first moved here, we were actually planning to go to Seward, Montessori. Jamie was registered there. And this was like maybe a month before school started. Sarah came home and was like, we can't go there. It's only 2 miles,
Yeah.
And I was thinking, bike right up River Road for there. And she was like, we need to go to school in the same neighborhood that we live in because of how important it is to like be after school with all of the people. And I say this all the time about Hiawatha, which to me was just the best elementary school ever, which was
Agreed.
school gets out and the kids are on the playground and the parents are all gathered around. And it is like I was going to compare it to a bar, but
There are a few key differences.
A church. We'll go with a church. We'll go with a church. Yeah,
it's like a
bar, church, tomato. But we met so many people through that we would then see when we were walking and biking around the neighborhood. And it was like those little connections over the years that sparked. And now you can't go anywhere without feeling like you know everybody.
Yeah.
I didn't think I was going to know anybody. I was scared. I was nervous. I didn't think it would be like the community it is. And I'm just like every day I'll just be walking the dog, just like smiling. Like I love it here so much. It is so crazy how much I love living here. We will never move.
Well,
Our house, we would love to have another bedroom, because the girls don't like sharing a room. We will never, ever move. And I tell them all the time, like, I'm sorry, but I love this neighborhood. It's not about the house or anything. I love this neighborhood so much.
Well, and that's like why we wanted to do this podcast, because
Yeah.
we feel the same way. Like, this neighborhood is kind of magical.
It is.
And you just stumbled upon it too.
I know.
That's lucked out. How did you end up in Hiawatha?
Ooh, quite the opposite. I did an insane amount of research.
Sarah told me what a planner you are.
I am a planner. I do plan. That's how the bike train came to be. It's how a lot of the biking and walking activities at our elementary schools. I led the bike walk committee for years and planned those. But for moving here, there was like a series of maps that I overlaid, including like looking at bicycle highways, by the way, which this was the perfect neighborhood to get just about anywhere in St. Paul and Minneapolis and be connected via bikeways. I got to the point where I laid over, I overlaid the MAC maps, which are the flights coming out of the airport. And I looked at the various flight patterns, and I said I had to live at least a mile east or west of those planes, because I'd hung out in friends' backyards in the Nokomis neighborhood.
The Nokomis pause, right?
Yeah. The Nokomis pause, where you're like, and then the plane goes by, and that happens just every 3 minutes or so. So, it's not that big of a deal. But I think we take it for granted here as part of what makes this neighborhood different than maybe some of the other ones that are closest to us, is that we are just far enough outside of that flight pattern. So I did a bunch of that research. I came here. I met with 3 or 4 different organizations that I was trying to get a job with, and then I toured all of our schools and saw 6 houses and put in an offer on the one we have now.
Do you have any bike train stories you want to tell us about? Grown-up bike train perspective?
I mean, it's pretty fun to get up every morning and ride with this crew. It's it always starts your day off right,
It does. It's like pure joy, right?
Despite the grumpy parent in me who constantly yells at them to slow down and stop at the intersection, it's still great.
That's awesome.
What are your hopes for the bike train for next year and beyond?
Okay, so I am actually I'm gonna be picking Dave's brain probably about this, but I would just like to get another bike train going. I know there's like very unofficial, like every once in a while one family will come and meet up, but on the other side of how, for those kids, I would love if they would form a bike train, and then we would all meet at How, and then we could continue on bringing with the Hiawatha kids. And I think that would just be really nice for the school, for the neighborhood, because I know there's a lot of kids over there that, they see me handing out candy or, something. They're like...
You get away with that? The principal got after me on that one.
There's a new principal. Miss Walker hasn't
Miss Walker doesn't
yet.
care if the kids have candy.
So anyway, so the kids will see me. They'll be like, "Can I have a piece of candy?" I'm like, "I only have enough for my bike train kids. You got to join my bike train." They're like, "We can't. We're on the other side. We come from the other way." And I'm like, I've got to get those kids connected. It'd be so cool, a Husky bike train,
and also well done, like planting those seeds and like, hey kids, tell your parents.
Yeah, and I know Key Wade and Nokomis, they have a like really huge one, right?
Yeah, a bike bus.
Yeah, theirs is a bike bus, not a bike train. But yeah, they have a huge one. And
sorry.
No, I was gonna say I don't know a lot about theirs. I've just really only seen it on social media.
Here's what I like about yours is that it happens every day, rain, sleet, or snow, and it's not a festival. It's not a one-time thing. It's like,
so theirs is on like walk and bike day, and that's the majority of it,
right? Or maybe like a Friday a week or something like that. And then a lot of the families actually have to gather. If you did a bike bus, the people that live north of the school would drive down here and like drop their kids off, or the kids would ride all the way down. For a meetup place. So it's fun to watch on social media.
Yeah.
But it in terms of like functionality for the families that go to attend our schools, bike trains are where it's at. Regular and reliable.
And we really, there's only been there was a lightning day that I was like, all right, guys, I'm sorry, but I'm not in lightning. But I do offer up rides, so that we can fill the cars. So we're not all of a sudden taking our own individual vehicles. I do feel strongly about that. And I wanted to mention my other goal is I have so many graduating 5th graders that are going to Sanford, and they're like, they still want to ride bike to school, right? They don't want this to end. They love the morning camaraderie, the excitement. They get to see each other before school. They have like their own little, Olivia and Melina before bike train, they were not friends. They didn't not like each other, but they just didn't, and they got to know each other through the bike train. It took a couple of years, but now this year, those two on the back of the train, sometimes I have to say, come on, girls, because they're, talking about whatever 5th grade girls talk about. And I just love the friendship that's formed. But those kids are all, there's so many of them going over. And I told them, I will figure out times. I will figure out a meeting place for you guys. Maybe on the first day, I'll take you there. And then I'd love if you guys would have your own bike train to Sanford. And so I think that's going to be a thing.
Well, I'll be curious to see, because Melina, I think, there's this little middle school piece of this. And Melina's been a little bit like, I'm going to bike by myself to school in the mornings. So we'll see what happens with that. But as long as they all stay on their bikes.
That's when I got dumped.
Well, thank you. Thank you for being on the podcast. And thank you for the bike train,
Thanks
both of you.
Yeah.
I think
standing ovation.
Yes, such a gift to the neighborhood. It gets cars off the road in the morning, but even more important for us, our kid is happy and ready to learn at the beginning of the day. Thank you.
Sure. It takes a village.
All right, Jenny and Dave, thanks for being on the podcast.
Jenny Graff.
My full name is actually
Dave
the
Cowan.
Bike Fairy.
The Bike Fairy.
Yes, he used to wear wings.
We need to end on Bike Fairy.
So you
were
asking
the Bike Fairy?
Well, that's how I led all the bike events. I would put the
tutu and wings
at Hiawatha and How we did have bike train, but we also had bike rodeos, and we had bike fix it, and we had helmet fits, and so
next year's PTO will be bringing those events back. So I'd love to hear about it. I'll be bringing all that kind of stuff back.
Yeah, I should, for your podcast, I should send you a picture of how big those events were. They were insane. And I would wear fairy wings, and I was the bike fairy, and I would hand out dum-dums that had a little sticker around them that said, "Thanks for biking, the bike fairy," and put them on kids' seats. And something happened after the pandemic where, first of all, principals were upset about the 2 grams of sugar that are in a dum-dum, apparently. There were complaints. So the dum-dums had to go away, or at least be given in secret to those on the bike train before they got to school.
Well, this morning I did hand some things out in the parking lot, but that's
Donuts.
because Jay showed up with donuts. I didn't want to steal his thunder,
Oh, you had treats too.
No, I had sour, fizzy Kool-Aid popping candy, like teeny tiny, not as exciting as donuts. And I was just like tossing them out, so not a big deal. But I do try and hand it out. Not on school property so that I don't get
in trouble.
Dave Cowan.
Yeah. Well, the other thing that happened is that before the pandemic, I knew all the families at the school. So they would be like, the bike fairy's here giving our kid a dum-dum. And then their kids were coming out after school and there was a dum-dum on their bike. And
From
the kids
the
were
bike
like,
fairy.
and they're like, I'm going to eat
From
this.
a
And the kid's
man
like,
wearing poison.
who is this guy? Why is he giving candy to our kids? And why are they taking it? Right.
I don't think the issue was the sugar.
It was the tutu.
But maybe my goal for this year is to hand over my bike fairy wings to you because they're hung up. They're hung up in my garage. Yeah.
I'd like to be present.
Maddie was very sad when the bike fairy was done. She liked it.
My kids still bring it up. They ask me why I'm not a bike fairy. I'm like, Dave is the bike fairy. I bought a cauldron this year though that I zip tied onto my bike. A cauldron, filled it with candy, and then tied
cauldrons of candy.
and
who
then,
can compete?
Exactly. I need to be better. I have to be better. Broomsticks on it. So I'm the bike witch. I told them, which is much more my personality than being a bike fairy. So.
Well, Dave and Jenny, we'll see you around the neighborhood.
See you around the neighborhood.
Thanks for having us. This was
Thank you.
fun.
Thank you.
Thanks for joining us for this episode of the Streets.mn podcast. This episode comes to us courtesy of the Hiawatha Neighbor podcast, all rights reserved. The music you're hearing right now is by Eric Brandt and the Urban Hillbilly Quartet. This episode was suggested by Stina Neel and transcribed by me, Ian R. Buck. We're always looking to feature new voices on the Streets.mn podcast, so if you have ideas for future episodes, drop us a line at podcast@streets.mn. Streets.mn is a community blog and podcast and relies on contributions from audience members like you. If you can make a one-time or recurring donation, you can find more information about doing so at streets.mn/donate. Find other listeners and discuss this episode on your favorite social media platform using the hashtag StreetsMNPodcast. Until next time, take care.